Like, if you want to see what the next 4 games are, like, is there a part of Haslam that just wants to make sure that if Shedeur is awesome over the next 4 games and you're winning a lot of these games and you look competitive in these games, that he wants to keep that continuity alive? Is that going to be the case?
Yes, 100%.
Like, because there is the thought process out there, and we can debate, again, we have the amount of credit that Shedeur deserves versus what Stefanski deserves, but there's a thought out there that if it's rolling, why would you disband that?
Yeah.
And so, the last thing Haslam could do is fire Stefanski, hire a defensive-minded coach, and then watch Shedeur take a step backwards next year, and then everybody wonder, oh no, did we make a mistake? And so that's why I think the next 4 games are. And that's where I think he is. He's trying to figure out how much of this is because Shedeur is just Shedeur, and how much of this is we need to make sure it's a Shedeur and Stefanski collab.
Wait, stop everything you're doing right now, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change how you see the Cleveland Browns, Shedeur Sanders, and Jimmy.
Oh, you just love Shedeur. You're doing it for the culture. I don't think Chase Daniels in the culture. I mean, he might be. I don't know. I don't know him personally, but he's welcome to pull up. But take a look at what he says in terms of what's going on with Shedeur Sanders and what he saw. Don't take my word for it.
Getting the ball, and he's getting the ball out quick. His pinky was really bugging him. I just think that the Browns in general just didn't really help him out.
Jimmy Haslam's master plan. While everyone is arguing about whether Shedeur should start in 2026, Haslam has been playing 3-dimensional chess this entire time, and the pieces are finally falling into place. Here's what nobody's talking about. Jimmy Haslam just secured $600 million in public funding for a $2.4
Shedeur Sanders. It's not Dylan Gabriel. You're the problem. Ownership. Yep. Ownership is the problem. And this is going to continue as long as Jimmy Haslam doesn't wake up and change, because he continues to make these bad decisions and continues because he very clearly put his team, his front office, his general manager, his head coach into a tough spot. We all saw the draft room video when they drafted Shedeur Sanders. Nobody was hiding how they felt. Nobody. Mm-hmm. The owner has come out and said, hey, this is what I wanted to have happen. So you've got friction already, and we knew that was going to. And oh, by the way, that's not even me mentioning that they've got a $150 million quarterback who's not playing football, Deshaun Watson, that we've all forgotten about. This is all the Browns' fault. I don't blame Shedeur. I don't blame Dylan Gabriel. I don't blame Stefanski. I don't even blame Andrew Berry. I blame Jimmy Haslam. This is an ownership problem because this has been a problem for 30 years. And the consistent factor is one thing: ownership. Not coaches, not GMs, not players, ownership. And at some point, you got to start doing things differently, because I don't want to see another kid ruined.
$4 billion dome stadium in Brook Park. Construction starts in 2026. Opening day, 2029. And here's where it gets interesting. Haslam didn't build a stadium for Cleveland. He built it for his family's generational wealth. He built it for a global brand. And most importantly, he built it for Shedeur Sanders. Think I'm crazy? Let me paint you a picture that will blow your mind. For 30 years, everyone has blamed...
Does the same thing, but just sort of, hey, get in the way. Call the butt block, man. And it sort of springs this guy, and everyone around him's watching. The 10 guys on the offensive side, the 11 guys on the defensive side. And
we talked about this. And the reason I brought this up before was the fact that Chase Daniels brought that up is because we talked about it on the show a little bit. And
I get it if Jimmy's thinking to himself, I at least owe it to Kevin to let this go down to the wire. And I don't think we're at the wire yet.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
Cleveland's dysfunction on ownership. And they're right, sort of. The Browns have cycled through coaches, general managers, and quarterbacks like they're changing oil. Nothing sticks, nothing works. The Haslam family has made questionable decision after questionable decision. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. Chase Daniel, former NFL quarterback and current analyst, broke down film of Shedeur Sanders against the Bears and said something crucial. The kid's pinky was injured, but he still threw blocks downfield. He still made NFL-ready decisions. He still protected the football. And Daniel's conclusion: it's not Shedeur Sanders who's the problem. It's not even Dylan Gabriel. The problem is ownership. But what if the ownership problem is actually Jimmy Haslam's greatest business move? Stay with me here. When the Browns drafted Shedeur in the 5th round, the leaked draft room video showed nobody was happy. The tension was palpable. Kevin Stefanski looked uncomfortable. Andrew Berry seemed resigned. And Haslam himself later admitted he wanted it to happen. He forced his front office into a corner. Why would a billionaire businessman create internal friction? Because he saw something they didn't. He saw dollar signs, global reach. A marketing phenomenon wrapped in a number 12 jersey. Let's address the elephant in the room. Deshaun Watson, $80.7 million cap hit in 2026, the largest in NFL history. Everyone says it's a disaster. Everyone says the Browns are stuck. But according to multiple reports from ESPN and Cleveland.com, Watson will be on the roster next season. Not because the Browns love him, but because the math makes sense. Here's what fans don't understand about NFL economics. Cutting Watson before June 1st would create a dead cap
that you just cannot see from the naked eye. There's something special about him that's just inside and it's internal, it's in his DNA. But what I love most about him, I want to see him be successful on the football field like any other fan. But I love when he gets in those press conferences. I love how he handles himself in those press conferences.
You said
I
what?
love how he handles himself.
What'd you say?
Fan. Love when he get in those press conferences. I love how he handles himself.
Oh, so you see it too? I love when he be in the press conference. When y'all folks get to asking them stupid questions that you've been asking for 30 years.
charge of $131.2 million. After June 1st, still $80 million in dead money for 2026 and $50 million more in 2027. You can't just erase that. It doesn't work that way. So the Browns created a three-tier system. Watson becomes the veteran bridge, the mentor. The guy who absorbs the cap hit while providing professionalism. Dillon Gabriel stays as the backup, competent enough to manage games but clearly not the franchise quarterback. And Shedeur Sanders, he's the future. He's always been the future, and here's the proof. Watson showed up to Shedeur's game against the Raiders. He was on the sideline after every series talking to the rookie, coaching him, supporting him. You think that was random, that was orchestrated. That was Haslam and Barry setting up the succession plan while managing the worst contract in NFL history. Watson costs $46 million in salary next year, but if he mentors Shedeur and helps develop the franchise quarterback, he's suddenly worth every penny of that cap hit. It transforms from a disaster into an asset. Here's where the business gets interesting. Shedeur Sanders ranks first among all NFL rookies in merchandise sales, according to Fanatics data. Since July 1st, he's been a top 10 selling player among all NFL players, not just rookies, everyone. His personal apparel line, Too Legendary, sold out immediately after the draft, but here's what really happened. The Browns ran a massive sale recently, 60% off almost everything, and mysteriously all the Shedeur jerseys were sold out. Unavailable, couldn't purchase them even if you wanted to. Now think about this logically. Shedeur's jerseys were reportedly generating massive sales all summer, but not once did they appear sold out on the Browns' official website, not one single time, until the moment they run a discount sale pushing other merchandise. Convenient, right? The Browns were trying to control the revenue stream, because guess what? Shedeur still gets a percentage of his jersey sales, and when you're selling at top 3 NFL levels, that adds up. So the Browns wanted fans buying generic team gear. Myles Garrett jerseys, Nick Chubb throwbacks, anything that didn't give Sanders a cut, but the demand was too strong. Supply and demand is off the charts, and Jimmy Haslam knows it. Let's talk about what really matters: money, power, legacy. Jimmy Haslam secured $600 million from the state of Ohio. He's putting up $1.2 billion himself. The stadium opens in 2029, and it's not just a stadium. It's a
believe that he will be on the roster, in part because of the salary cap considerations. We know he's got the $80 million cap charge. They'll mess around with that and restructure that, but he'll be on the team next year, and he will have a chance to start games in the beginning of the season as a bridge quarterback in the event that they need a veteran quarterback to do that. He will be in line to be able to do that. Let's say they stick with Shedeur and they think he needs a little more seasoning.
$6 billion mixed-use development with hotels, restaurants, apartments, and entertainment venues. Who fills that stadium? Who brings in international fans? Who generates the kind of buzz that sells premium seat licenses and luxury boxes? Not Cam Ward, not Jalen Milroe, not some first-round quarterback from the 2026 draft. Shedeur Sanders, that's who. Here's what people don't understand. Shedeur has a global fan base that spans continents. His jersey sales include purchases from the Netherlands, Brazil, Germany, London, South Africa, and countries that barely follow American football. He's got NBA Hall of Famers like Dwayne Wade getting emotional about him. He's got rappers, actors, and influencers talking about him daily. Jamie Foxx, Cam Newton, Snoop Dogg, they're all tuned in. That's not just football fandom. That's a cultural movement. And cultural movements sell out stadiums. They sell merchandise. They generate content. They create value that extends far beyond wins and losses. Jimmy Haslam is building a stadium that needs to compete globally. He said it himself. The stadium will enable Ohio to compete for the biggest events in the world 365 days a year. You don't do that with a traditional quarterback. You do that with a transcendent brand. But let's not forget, Shedeur can actually play. In Week 14 against Tennessee, he threw for 364 yards and 4 total touchdowns, including 3 passing scores and a rushing touchdown. He's one of only a handful of quarterbacks since Joe Burrow to post those numbers in a single game as a rookie. Chase Daniel broke down the tape, the quick release, the decision-making under pressure, the way he handles adversity. Shedeur does things that most rookie quarterbacks simply don't do. Remember when Drake May made a downfield block and everyone lost their minds, called it leadership, called it grit? Shedeur did the exact same thing in crickets. Absolute silence from the mainstream media. but the film doesn't lie. Shedeur completed 74% of his passes in college with an NCAA leading completion rate in his final season. He won the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. He finished 8th in Heisman voting. At Colorado, he threw for over 7,000 yards and 64 touchdowns with only 13 interceptions in 2 seasons. The talent is undeniable. The production is real. And now he's proving it at the NFL level despite playing behind one of the league's worst offensive lines and with limited weapons around him. Kevin Stefanski's job security is the talk of Cleveland right now. The Browns are 4-12 heading into their season finale. That's 7 wins in 2 years. Stefanski won Coach of the Year twice, but those awards feel hollow now. One came during COVID with no fans. The other came when Joe Flacco rescued the season. Albert Breer, who's been critical of Shedeur from day one, even admitted that Stefanski's voice might be getting tone deaf after 6 years. The special teams are a disaster. The defense has regressed. Penalties are killing drives. It's organizational chaos. But here's the thing. Whether Stefanski stays or goes might be irrelevant to Shedeur's future. Because the decision about the quarterback has already been made, multiple insiders report that Stefanski will likely be evaluated based on the final 4 games of the season. And guess who started taking over as the signal caller? Shedeur Sanders. If Stefanski survives, it's because Shedeur gave him a lifeline. If Stefanski gets fired, Haslam will hire someone who fits Shedeur's skill set. Either way, the rookie quarterback is the constant. He's the foundation. He's the untouchable piece. And if they do move on from Stefanski, Bill Belichick's name keeps coming up. Belichick has history with Cleveland. He coached there before. He knows the organization. Pair an old-school disciplinarian like Belichick with a young, talented quarterback who refuses to be outworked. That's a championship-level combination. Here's what separates Shedeur from every other quarterback prospect. The movement. I'm not talking about Colorado fans. I'm not talking about Browns fans. I'm talking about a global phenomenon that exists independent of team loyalty. Third-shift workers in Memphis pulling up to games in Shedeur jerseys with tears in their eyes. Grandmas in Charlotte who don't watch football buying his jersey for their grandkids. Little kids in Orlando singing his walk-up song word for word. This isn't regional. This isn't demographic specific. Memphis, Dallas, Santa Fe, Des Moines, Charlotte, Raleigh, Columbia, Chattanooga, Dearborn, Champaign, Little Rock, Orlando, Atlanta, Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami, Montana, North Dakota, San Diego, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, Minneapolis, Alabama, London, Ireland, Brazil, Mexico City, Hawaii, Germany, Dubai, Jamaica, Utah, Maryland, Virginia, Austin, Massachusetts, Holland, Berlin, Missouri, Connecticut, New Jersey, Florida, Minnesota, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, China. Indiana, Columbia. That's just a partial list of places with organized Shedeur Sanders fan communities, not Browns fans who happen to like Shedeur. Shedeur fans who will support whatever team he plays for. Dwayne Wade, a basketball Hall of Famer and LeBron James's best friend, got emotional talking about Shedeur. Wade said he loves watching Shedeur in press conferences, loves how he handles himself, loves how he refuses to throw teammates under the bus. Wade said Shedeur has something in his DNA that you can't teach, and Wade has never been that emotional about another athlete. Not even LeBron. Think about that. Let's break down the business case because this is where it becomes undeniable. Shedeur Sanders costs $840,000 per year on his rookie contract. That's 70 times less than your backup quarterback. He generates top 3 NFL jersey sales. He's one of the most Googled athletes on the planet. He brings in fans from countries without professional football teams. Compare that to Cam Ward or any other first-round quarterback. They'll cost $30 million plus in guaranteed money. They might have regional appeal. But do they have global reach? Do they move merchandise in Brazil? Do they sell out stadiums in Cleveland during December games? The risk-reward calculation isn't even close. You've got cheap labor combined with a global superstar. You've got proven on-field production combined with unprecedented marketing appeal. You've got a fan base more engaged than it's been in 30 years. What's the downside? Seriously. What's the risk in building your franchise around Shedeur Sanders? When Deshaun Sanders showed up to a Browns game in Cleveland, he was comfortable, taking pictures, bringing his girlfriend, relaxed. If there was any concern about Shedeur's future, Prime doesn't make that trip. But he did, because the deal is done. The decision is made. Deshaun Sanders didn't build his reputation by making bad reads. He's not bringing his family to Cleveland if there's uncertainty about his son's role. That appearance was a signal to everyone paying attention. Shedeur is the guy. It's decided. Here's the blueprint. Keep Shedeur. Build around him. Market him globally. Fill the new stadium. Print money. It's not complicated. It's business 101. Jimmy Haslam didn't become a billionaire by making emotional decisions. He became a billionaire by seeing opportunities others miss. And he sees Shedeur Sanders as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to transform the Cleveland Browns from a regional, also ran into a global brand. The stadium opens in 2029. By then, Shedeur will be in his prime. He'll have 3 years of NFL experience. He'll have developed chemistry with his weapons. And he'll be the face of a franchise playing in a world-class facility that hosts Super Bowls, international games, and major concerts year-round. The jersey sales will continue. The international fan base will grow. The Browns will become relevant on a scale they've never experienced. And Jimmy Haslam's family will profit for generations. This isn't about winning games in 2026, though Shedeur gives them the best chance to do that too. This is about building a dynasty. Creating a brand that lasts decades, making the Cleveland Browns matter globally. All the talk about drafting Cam Ward or trading up for another quarterback, that's noise. That's the media trying to create drama where none exists. The Browns have their guy. They drafted him in the 5th round. He's cost-controlled for 4 years. He's already proven he can handle the NFL spotlight. And most importantly, he brings value that extends far beyond the football field. Mary Kay Cabot, one of the most connected Browns insiders, confirmed Watson will be on the roster in 2026. Multiple national reporters have echoed that sentiment. The 3-tier quarterback system is set, and Shedeur Sanders is the centerpiece. Jimmy Haslam isn't going to let a player who can fill a 100,000-seat stadium walk away because talking heads on television think they know better. He's not going to abandon a marketing phenomenon that generates global interest. He's not going to pass on a quarterback who represents the future of the franchise and the key to unlocking billions in stadium revenue. The math doesn't lie. The business case is airtight. The cultural impact is undeniable. Shedeur Sanders is the Cleveland Browns' future. The decision has already been made, and honestly, it might be the smartest move the organization has made in 30 years. So when people ask if Shedeur should be the starter in 2026, the real answer is this. Shedeur Sanders isn't just the starter. He's the foundation. He's the plan. He's the reason Jimmy Haslam is building a $2.4 billion stadium. And he's untouchable. You're either on the bus or you're watching it drive by, because this story is just getting started. And what happens next will shock the entire NFL. Go Browns.